Hello again everyone, welcome to another Transformers review. Well, actually it's not a Transformers review, this is my first Zoids review, as was requested by a few people a while ago. And for this review I'm going to be doing REDHORN the Terrible and Mammoth the Destroyer. You can just see Mammoth the Destroyer in the background there. Now then, before I start, I'm just going to give everyone a brief history of these Zoids. These are the Zoids that come out in Europe back in 1986 roughly, maybe before then. And of course in Europe they were separated into red Zoids and blue Zoids. And not Empire Zoids and Republic Zoids like in the rest of the world, I think. I'm not quite sure about Japan. Because my Zoids knowledge isn't as great as Transformers, unfortunately. Yes, now then, they did have their own comic as well, which ran for 51 issues, which was produced by Marvel UK, and this is this is actually the final issue, which I've got here. There we go. So they had their own comic, which was pretty good. I used to love reading that, and was written by, for the most part, by Grant Morrison, who went on to write quite a lot of serious comics for DC, I believe, and maybe Marvel as well. Anyway, a quick brief history of the Zoids. Now then, these were from the planet Zoidstar. Which a long time ago did have supposedly a race called Zoidarians, but they conquered the galaxy and then got bored of it and just went back to their home world, where they just had heroic combats using Zoids, or these big machines. And then because they couldn't have children very much, vast majorities of their population got killed off, so they decided to create androids to pilot the Zoids. And then, like saying that's how they got all their android pilots. And then there was some cataclysmic event that happened and wiped out all of Zoidstar and left it a desolate desert wasteland where the only survivors were the Zoids. And then they broke their programming and then just ran amok, Zoid versus Zoid. Now then, all the Zoids on the planet Zoidstar were blue Zoids. And then on their way back from some supposed wherever they had installations out in space, a few Zoids on their way back to Zoidstar crash landed on the ice blue moon of Zoidstar, and because of the sub-zero temperatures were forced to mutate their Zoids using boiling hot metal or something, and that thus created the mutant red Zoids. From there then they just invaded Zoidstar, and the rest of the Zoids were forced to unite and became the blue Zoid army, and then of course they fought the red Zoids. As a little point, in the comic anyway, there were no really good or bad Zoids. All the Zoids were sort of bent on sort of like conquest of their planet. So even though it used to sound the boxes like the evil mutant red Zoids, the blue Zoids were just as bad. So it's quite novel in a way. Anyway, I'm going to end that sort of history bit there really, and then we're just going to get on to my actual Zoid review. Now then, we're going to start with this Zoid here. This is the Imperial Mutant Red Zoid leader, REDHORN the Terrible. Now then, he is a really, really good looking Zoid. I really did like this. My brother used to have this one when I was a kid. I was really envious of it, and like I say, I thought it was a really, really good one. The obviously novelty being of these toys was that they were all motorised in some way, and of course they came like a model kit, but you didn't need glue because they were all held together by these little plastic caps, which meant that even, well, when I was playing with them, you could blow bits off them and then you could just rebuild them, which was really, really good. Now then, REDHORN the Terrible, he comes with 3 little android pilots. You have the main pilot, who actually was like the brains of REDHORN. He just sits in there. Of course, like I say, the android was the actual intelligence bit, not the actual... The Zoid there is just a machine, basically. Now then, he's got another little weapons android that just sits in there, and you can see him in this little pod, just there. And then he's also got another little weapons android just sitting on his tail, just back there. Now he's got quite a lot of guns everywhere. He's got some just there on his tail. He's got this one that swivels round when you turn the motor on. And he's also got this one, which will swivel and can be positioned in any manner of sort of way, really. He's got a nice little aerial antenna there, which is usually missing off these figures. And of course, he's got a nice little gun just under his chin, just there. Now then, I'm going to switch this fellow on so we can see him moving about. And we're going to see how well he walks. He actually walks pretty well, actually. There we go. Oh, we're going to turn him on. There we go. He's off, and then we'll walk to the edge of this little thing. Here we go. Oh, I better stop him before he does walk off the end. Yeah, so like I say, it works pretty well. Not too bad at all, really. And definitely one of my favourite red Zoids. Now then, I'm just going to move him to one side, and we're going to come on to Mammoth the Destroyer. Now then, this is a Mammoth type Zoid, and was one of my favourite Zoids out of the entire line, really. I like him. I had a friend round yesterday, and they were really impressed with this one, because I had him just on the shelf ready to do this review, and they said, wow, they really like the look of this one, and it is one of my favourite ones. It looks quite sort of like antiquated when you look at REDHORN. Let me just move REDHORN out of the way so we can have a really good look at Mammoth. Now he does have his little red Zoid logo. I don't know if you can see it just there. Of course, that was the Empire logo, I believe, that was just reused for these, of course. Yeah, now then, give you a bit of history about Mammoth. He was like the Starscream of the Zoid world, in the fact that he was a blue Zoid and then defected to the red Zoids because he thought that he could obviously gain more power in the red Zoid army, and of course did sort of like lead Mammoth to be destroyed in the comics, which was, you know, like I say, as in keeping with Starscream, what he was always trying to do to Megatron. Anyway, there we go. Let's have a look around this figure. He is one of my favourites. I mean, he has 3 pilots as well. He's got his little weapons android just sitting on the back there. And if we go down to his little tail, there's another one there, surrounded by, oh my god, loads of guns. Now then, there we go, he's got another little red Zoid logo just there. Turn him round. Absolutely, he is a fantastic toy. And there we go, we just get a front view of him there. Now then, that is where the little android pilot sits in the front there. I love that cockpit, it is really, really good. And of course, when we turn him on, but for some reason, I don't know why, but this one has stopped working. I'm pretty sure he was working a while ago. But I've put batteries in him and couldn't seem to get him to work. I wanted to do this review now because it's only my spare time today. So I haven't got time to figure out why he wasn't working. So unfortunately I can't get him to walk, but he just walks on pretty much the same as REDHORN there. And of course this goes up and down as well like that as he walks along. And that of course is his trunk. Now then, like I say, I do have the rare blue Zoid version. Now then, this version doesn't work at all. When I bought it off eBay, I think I got it for about, can't remember now, it's either 70 or 80 pounds. I had to buy it from France as well, because it was released in France as well. Unfortunately, the guy did say the engine wasn't working, but I really just did want this version of the toy, because like I say, he wasn't released at all in England as part of an official, like, because obviously he was a blue Zoid, then defected. So this is why I did want the blue Zoid version of this. And I think he looks absolutely fantastic. I do like these Zoids. There we go. So we turn him around and we put him next to the red Zoid version. I was saying, he looks really, really good next to him. I actually do prefer the red Zoid version, to be honest. But I like the blue Zoid version almost just as much. But I just think the red Zoid version does take it. Yeah, so like I say, he's got all the same features. Like I say, then when we put all these Zoids together, because obviously REDHORN and Mammoth always hung round together like that, we can get a few little smaller Zoids, put them sort of like next to them, and when you've got a lot of these Zoids, they look really, really good all next to each other, all the varying sizes. Of course, these are wind-up little toys. You can see the little wind-up thing there. Absolutely fantastic toys. Yes, now I'm always going to show you a few more things. This is the box for Power Zoid Serpent. Really nice figure. I think I've got a few of these ones. Some of the motors work, some don't. When I bought the rare blue Zoid version of Mammoth, he actually came with some green parts, but I just changed them over for a few parts of Great Gorgon, because I had another old one of him. And this is the box for the blue Zoid version of Mammoth. And now then, if we look closely, there is some Zoids on there which I've never ever seen released before. And they are some really weird versions. Like I said, there's another weird version like of Scorpozoid and Terrazoid, or was it Terrazoid, Terra-Red? Some strange sort of versions. There's a strange sort of version of like a Spider-Zoid mixed in with Hydra-Zoid. Really some strange looking Zoids. And I mean, if we look at this fellow, this looks like a different version of Mammoth altogether, because he's got some added bits onto his sort of like horns and trunk there, and the back section can be raised up, but you definitely can't do that on the one that I've got. But there we go. Like I said, we just have a look at the front of the box. This is actually the front. That was like the back of the box. There we have it. Really good board. I do like these Zoids. Anyway, I'm going to end this review there. I hope you all liked it. And if you want me to review any more Zoids, just let me know. I do have quite a lot of them. Mainly the old European ones from like 1986. Anyway, I hope you liked it, and I'll see you all next time.